Hello and welcome to the second video of Excel Data Analytics. In this video, I'm going to focus on two important features of Excel that are often used. One is called if-else statements, other one is the pivot tables. If statements is one of the most common use of Excel formulas because it's very helpful in doing a lot of analysis. So the format of the if statement is I take a cell and I would like to see whether it satisfied a condition. So let me give an example here. Let's say I'm trying to do question number 5 here. Add a column containing the body fat category high and low. So if it is high, it should be, the value should be more than 20. If it is less, 20 or less, it should be low. So basically what I am doing here is I am creating a new column. So I'm saying that if the value is, my body fat column is actually column number, let me just quickly check, column number C. So basically I'm extracting, so here is body fat and here I'm writing a new column called body fat category or cat. Okay, I'll put it as 1 because I'm going to create another category for the next question. So body fat category, and I don't want the value here, but you can see here, so these are all numbers. If you look at carefully, body fat is actually a continuous variable because every number is interpretable. So 12.6, 24, 21, every value is is interpretable. So it's a continuous variable. So instead of this, I'm extracting a category and I would write a value. So the 12.6, if the number is 12.6, then the corresponding, as per my rule, it should be low because it's less than 20 or less than 20. And 24.6, this one should be high because it is more than 20. Now, I'm doing two things here. First is I'm creating a new column and actually extracting these values, low and high, low and high. But at the same time, if you notice, I'm also doing converting this continuous variable to a categorical variable, because categorical variable is having certain categories, low category and high category. So here in this particular case, I'm adding two categories, but you can understand that I can do this categorical variable analysis right here. So I don't want to type it, rather I want to type low, high like that, but I will create a formula that would put those values automatically. So the formula that I'm going to use is equal to, it will start with equal to. So we will say here equal to if, and then I'll put a parenthesis, an open parenthesis, and I'm saying that equal to if, and this is C2. So this particular cell is C2. So C2. So if C2 is greater than 20, okay, so this is my condition, and then I have to write what? So in order to write what is the result of this, I will put a comma, and I'm writing yes or no, and in yes or no or true or false, these are actually basically text, so characters, so I will put it in quotes. So it is yes, comma, again in double quotes, no, or true or false, whichever you want. And then I need to close the parenthesis. So my formula is if C2 is more than 20, then replace it by yes, or else no. Now please note, because there is just only two conditions, I don't have to write or else. So else condition is not written here because I have only two options, either it is yes or it is no. So you'll see here, because the first value is 12.6, so that's why it is no. Let me copy this and show it to you here. So this is my formula for question number 5, that if C2 is greater than 20, it is yes, or else it is no. Okay, so this is the question 5. Now, how do I use this to copy it for the entire rows? Now, I should not drag it. The reason being, if I drag it, then, what if there are a lot of rows, 10,000, 20,000. So rather, in order to do a quick copying this into all the rows, what I have to do is put my cursor right here till it changes to this, you can see this as a cross, a black cross, and I just need to double click. So when I double click, then you can see here, it copies to the entire column. Okay, so that was the first one. So now let's go to the second one. I'm going to do again body fat, but now I have a little bit more complex condition. So I gave the first problem that we did was a simple if. Now we are going to do a little bit more complex, and we call it as a nested if. So nested if means if statement which is already inside another if statement, and there could be more number of if statements. We'll see an example later. So let's look at the problem that we're trying to do. We are going to create a category, but now instead of just yes or no or high and low, what we're going to do here, by the way, I just saw the criteria that we have to do is high and low, not yes or no. So it should not be a problem to fix this. You just need to go here. Instead of yes, just write high. And instead of no, just write low. Paste it. And then again, just you click on that arrow, click on that black cross, and it solves the problem. Okay, now let's move to the next. Let me just drag this. If I drag this, automatically it will create another one called body fat cat 2. Here, I'm going to introduce 3 values here, 3 values, again, categorical value. One is low, medium, and high. So what we have to look at here is low, medium, high, but I can't use that formula. So I have to use something called a nested formula to apply this. That means if the body fat is between 0 to 19.9, which is basically less than 20, then it is low. If it is 20 to 40, it is medium, and anything more than 40 is high. So 40 and above. Okay, so let's try to implement this, and let me, instead of doing it directly here, let me write an if statement here so that we can use it. So again, we'll start with equal to if. And now, again, I'm going to take C2 because C2 is my body fat. So if C2 is less than 20, then what should happen? It should happen low, L-O-W in double quotes. Okay. Now I can't write here medium or high, because then that would means anything more than 20 and above will be medium or high, right? So therefore we have to introduce another if statement here, and to introduce another if statement here, okay, there should not be 2 equal to, it is just 1 equal to. I will just write if again. So after the comma, I'm going to write if. Then I've already taken care of the low. So now I'm going to take care of the medium. So again, if in parenthesis C2 less than 40, then it is medium, M-E-D-I-U-M. Or else, now if you look at carefully, I have taken care of low, which is less than 20. I've taken care of medium, which is less than 40. So the only thing that is left now is high. So I will just write high. Now I have to put 2 parentheses close. I have to use 2 here because one for the internal one, this one, and the other one is for the outer. So this is what we call it as a nested if, because one if statement is embedded inside another if statement. So now let's copy this. And you can imagine, I showed the second example that if statements can be way more complex. You can add formulas inside, you can refer, and now you can combine if statement with some other kind of statements. and other kind of formulas. That's why it might be very complex. Okay, so let's paste this formula which we just wrote, and it works. So I'm going to click on the arrow here, and you can see the sum of the values are low, medium, and then low, medium, low, medium, and let's see a value which is more than 40. Is there anything more than? So I'm looking at column number C. It doesn't look like anything has more than 40. So I'm going to do a small modification in my question here. Is anything more than 30? So I'm going to click on low, and instead of 40, I'm going to change it to 30. So that means less than 20 is low, between 20 and 30 is medium, and anything more than that is high. So click on that, and then click on this, and now check whether we have something on high. Yes, we have all figures, low, medium, and high. High corresponds to 38. The earlier was not working because there was no field which more than 40. So in other words, I'm going to go back and change this to 30. This is my formula. Okay, so now let's look at the question that we are working on. So high 20, and this will be, I'll modify this to 29, and this will be 30. Okay, so I change the values here so that I get this low, medium, high. So you can see here now, as I was saying, that you can combine this formula with something else. For example, this might be a good opportunity for you to highlight high. So in this particular, I can actually select and do go to the home and do the conditional formatting to highlight only the cells which have high, because there are not many high in this particular. So it makes sense to do this. So you can see how I can combine one feature of Excel with another one to make it more useful. Now, the last part we are going to work on this particular module is, this particular video is about the pivot table. So you can see here, my question that I have is rank different states in terms of number of individuals with height more than 75. So my question is, how can I rank number of individuals with height more than 75? Now, I'm not ranking the number of individuals, but I'm ranking the states. So that means I need to summarize and find out that in each state, how many individuals are there with height more than 75. So you can see here, the problem is not about simple ranking. Otherwise, I would have simply did a sort or a filter kind of thing. But there is little bit a problem about aggregation. So first step is, let's aggregate all the individuals within the state and then do the ranking. So therefore, this particular kind of problem is well suited for doing the pivot table. So as I said before, pivot table is widely used because it creates summary table. And the reason it can create summary table is because there are certain fields or the rows which repeats itself. Now, the hint is given here that which particular field repeats, or the value repeats a lot. And you can see here, the value that repeats here is the state. So if you look at the state here, so CA repeats from row number 2 to row number 43. So that means there are 42 individuals with C with the same value. So that means what? I can summarize all these C's together, then all these FL together. So I can summarize all the states. And if I do that, I will be able to find out the individuals with height more than 75. So the reason we are able to use pivot table is because there is at least one field that repeats itself. Consider that there is a data set where each and every field is unique, it's different. In that case, you will probably not be able to use a pivot table. Okay, you would be able to use it if you convert it into a different field, and then you can use it. For example, let's say I can't use a pivot table in body fat in terms of summarizing body fat, but I can use it in the category. So because all this is now can be summarized based on low, medium, and high. Okay, so let's create a pivot table. So I'm going to select the pivot table here. And the question that I'm answering is, states, rank different states of individuals with height more than 75. Okay, so let's do this analysis here, and let's see how we can do this. So we will start with the pivot table to create this value here. And the first thing we'll do is we will create a pivot table. So we'll first select the first cell so that this entire data is selected and create a pivot table. So the way to do question number 7, so this is my question number 7. I'm solving this rank different states in terms of number of individuals with height more than 75. Okay, so I selected this, and then I'll click on insert and then say insert pivot table. So you can see here, because I selected this particular cell, this entire worksheet is selected. And then I'm going to create a pivot table to a new worksheet, and this helps. My suggestion is generally to create pivot tables in a new worksheet. And the reason is, if you do that, then you will be able to upload or analyze it separately. If I put it here, then sometimes I would like to do the analysis separate than the data. So I don't want to mix it up. So therefore I'm going to use a new worksheet. Okay, so click on OK. So the pivot table is basically a drag and drop feature. There are different options. These are different variables or different headers that we have, columns. And if I select certain columns and certain rows with certain values, I'm going to get a summary. Okay, this is the whole way the way it works. Like I select, let's say, location, and if I click on location, it becomes rows. So you can see all the 200 something rows now is condensed into only this, because it is summarizing it. So I select, let's say, body fat, and you can see here that the row with values are also selected together. So this is how it creates. Now, in order to do that, I am going to take out the body fat, because if you look at the question, it says, look at the question once more, because the question says rank different states in terms of number of individuals. So just check this word, number of individuals. That means I need to count how many individuals. So I'm using a function count of individuals. So if you look into the data, the first column will give me the count, because each number is unique. So each ID is unique. So if I say count how many, so I'm going to use this particular column. Okay, so let's click on ID, and it says sum. I don't want the sum, because sum doesn't make sense in terms of ID. I'm going to change it to column. So in order to change this, so click on this and then click on value field settings and select count. Okay, now select count. Now what it has done is it has simply counted all the IDs for each location. So it says that there are 42 people in California. There are 42 people in Florida. There are 42 people. It just summarizes how many people are there in each state. But this is not what I want. I want people to be summarized in terms of the height. How many people have height, and that to be the condition which is more than 75. So I have to select height. So this time when I select height, I'm not going to select on sum. Rather, I'm going to drag it to filter. Okay, so height is filter. Now, well, it considers all height, so still the number is 42. But now what I'm going to do here is on this particular, when I click it, you see here, this total value, you'll see that is, from here, I'm going to select only those who are more than 75. So what I'm going to do here is okay, let me show you once again. So click on this and then click on select multiple items. And I'm going to click on all so that I uncheck this. So nothing is selected now. And I'm going to select now only which is more than 75. So I'm going to click on this, this, and this. And then click on OK. Now I get a count of people. That means in California, there is only one person. And then in Idaho, only one. In Minnesota, there are two. And in Texas, there are two people. Only these number of people, total 6 people, have height more than 75. And you can see the way I used it. I used in rows and values, but count, but in filter I have used height. So this is how I'm going to solve the question number 7. The question number 8 and 9 are similar. So only thing is in this 8, I have to use average weight and there is no condition. And then I have to use average body fat. So rank different states in terms of average weight. So I can modify this. That means if I go back, I don't have to go back and create it. So, but please note that this pivot table is now connected to the data here. Okay, because you saw that when I clicked on the pivot table, it asks me the sheet. So this is connected to the data. So if I change, this will change. So I can create a new, so let me maybe for our example, so this is a solution of question 7. So let me write of question 7 and then go back here and click on create, insert a new pivot table. Again, I've selected this entire thing, a new worksheet, and this time I'm going to write this as Q8. Q8. So in question 8, my the pivot table will be similar, but it will be a little bit different here because I'm dealing with just, if you look at the question once more, I'm just dealing with rank different states in terms of average weight. So if you see here, all I need is state information is in location and weight is in the weight column. So I'll click on this so that my pivot table fields are highlighted. So I select location, automatically it will be in the x-axis. And then I will select weight. It should be here, but I don't want the sum. Sum of weight doesn't make any sense. So I have to change it to average. So click on this and then value field settings and select average. Just to let you know, there are other things you can do here with max, mean, standard deviation, variation population, and other things that you can do. So click on OK. And this is exactly what I want. I want the average weight. You can see average weight of fluid is 165. And then you can, in order to, let's say I want to detangle this from the data, there's another way of doing this, which is I select this, then copy this, and then paste it probably here as value, So now this is independent of the pivot table. So if I click it, the pivot table is highlighted, the field is highlighted. If I click it, it doesn't. That means I've changed it. So I can now name this as a state, now name this as average weight. And more importantly, I can do some customization here and maybe right click and say the property or format cells and select number with maybe just 1 decimal point. Okay, so you can see that this is much easier to represent than this. So that is question number 8. And let's go back to our, and I'm going to do the next one, which is find average of body fats by location. So which is question number 9. And you can, instead of going, maybe I can do it quickly again. So basically it's a very simple, same exercise. So go back here, select a particular cell, insert pivot table in a new worksheet and name that as Q9, which is question number 9. And my pivot table will be very similar, but instead of weight, I'm going to select body fat and I'm going to select the average body fat. Setting and click on average. So I did question 7, 8, 9. And the final one that I'm going to work on, as I was referring to here, is pivot table. So we did the if else statement and pivot table so far. And let's look question 9. So I'm going to do the first part of this and then use VLOOKUP and other little bit in the next video. So replace all state codes with full names of the state. Okay, so it is actually, this has to be done twice. One is replace it with full names and then repeat this with a VLOOKUP function. So I'm going to just do with the first one without the VLOOKUP, and we will take care of the VLOOKUP in the next video. Okay, so let's work on how do we do question number 10, fill this up. So that means I'm going to replace it. So rather than replacing it, let me create a new column. So you can see here, my objective is to replace CA by California. So definitely we will do this with a VLOOKUP. So because that CA information is already here. And if we look out here, CA is here, California. So I can do that with VLOOKUP. But right now, let me create a new column and name it as full state. And here, instead of CA, I would write with a formula called California. Okay, so this is what I want. And you can see here that the easiest way to do that would be to use an if formula. So that means if it is CA, then replace with California. If it is Florida FL, then replace with Florida. If it is ID, then replace with ID. If it is TX, like this, you will do it. Okay. So the way to do that, and we have, let me see how many states we have here. So filter, we have several states, Cal 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means we have to write 6 if statements, and one will be nested inside the other. But let me show you the first part, and then we will use the second, the completed. So I will start with an equal to statement. So let me just write it on the notepad here. So I'm going to start with equal to. So equal to if, and this time my column that I'm going to select is column B, because the column B has the information about the states. So equal to if B2 equal to, now because it has text inside, if it is CA, then replace it with California. Okay. Now you can understand that what should be the next. That means I have to just continue writing another if statement, but this time I want to write a different state abbreviation with the full state name. So this write comma, then again if, and then again B2 equal to FL and comma, double quotes. Here everything will be double quotes because all the things are in text. Values in the column B are in text. So like this, we can just continue, do this if, and then finish it up. So in order to show you that how it is going to look like, I can copy this. I already wrote this formula in a separate place. So let me just write this complete formula. This is what it will look like. So let me show you completely. So it says equal to B2 CA California. Let me just drag it so they can see it in one single line. Comma, B2 Florida, then Idaho, then Texas, then Minnesota and New Hampshire. And for each parenthesis, I have to close it. So therefore there are 6 states, we have 6 parentheses. So if you copy this formula and paste it as a full name here, you can see the formula is pasted. No, I didn't paste it properly. Let me go back. Yeah, I pasted it now. So you can see here, this entire formula is pasted here. So just copy this. You will see first California, Florida, Minnesota, Texas, Idaho, New Hampshire. So it is pasted in and the formula is working. The next option that I have is fine. I have full state, but full state this time, I'm not going to, let me remove the filter. So this time I'm not going to do this way, but I'm going to use a VLOOKUP because the importance of VLOOKUP is this information is already provided in another sheet, which is state. And I don't need to type such a big formula because if I type such a big formula, imagine if I had to do it for all the 50 states, then I have to use 50 parentheses and type it. Rather, all the states information are provided here. So, it makes sense to use a table like this to do this task. So how do we do this is what we will do in a VLOOKUP. So in the next tutorial, we will focus on the VLOOKUP, all states, and then we will continue with the rest of the task that we have here.